Have you ever stopped to uh, really think about how much of your life is actually private now?
Mm.
It's a question that, well, it feels more important almost every day, doesn't it? Our world's so interconnected, so observed. Today, we're doing a deep dive into this whole evolving landscape of surveillance and, personal privacy.
Yeah, and that's really the heart of it, isn't it? How much of our lives is truly private anymore? It's a huge question. Kind of unsettling when you really think about it.
Definitely. And to help us unpack all this, we've got some really interesting sources lined up. There's a discussion guide called bigbrother.pdf, some images from a very famous book,
Iconic, really.
right? And some pretty striking quotes, street art too, and even pictures from, real government agencies like the NSA.
So our mission here for you listening is to really dig into this stuff. We want to pull out the key ideas about where that line is, between public and private, and what does it actually mean to be watched today. The goal is to give you a clearer handle on these, well, pretty critical issues.
Okay, let's jump in. There's one source title that just grabs you immediately. Big Brother is watching.
Ah, yes.
And anyone who knows their literature, that instantly makes you think of George Orwell's 1984. We've actually got the book cover in our sources, too.
Exactly. And that's such a key starting point because 1984 wasn't just a story. It gave us Big Brother as this symbol of total government surveillance, complete control. In Orwell's world, the idea is that everything, what you do, what you say, maybe even what you think, it's all being monitored. It's a really chilling picture of, well, absolute power.
Yeah, and what always gets me about 1984 are those slogans. We see them quoted in the sources. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength.
Paradoxical.
Totally. It's amazing how they capture the complete twisting of truth, of reality in that society. It kind of forces you to ask, how could people just accept that?
That's a great point. And it connects directly to that graffiti image we have, the one that says George Orwell was right. Why does that resonate? Well, for a lot of people, it's because they see parallels today. Maybe a blurring of lines or like a manipulation of information that feels like what Orwell warned about. So the insight there isn't just about the book. It's that these themes, power, control, truth, they still feel very, very relevant. Disturbingly so sometimes.
And it's not just, grand political theory or fiction. These ideas pop up in really personal ways. Look at the bigbrother.pdf source. It uses right into the employer-employee relationship.
Yeah.
And it hits you with this question. Do you think that your employer has the right to ask about your private life? Straight up.
And then what's really interesting, it lists all these specific questions. And it asks you to think, okay, which of these are actually okay for a boss to ask? It really forces you to draw your own line, doesn't it, in that specific context?
Oh, absolutely. And it goes into some sensitive stuff like marital status. Do you have kids? Your education level? Okay, maybe education, but then religion, military service, political party. And it doesn't stop there. Health questions, physical disabilities, serious diseases.
Yeah.
And then, legal history, personal life, prison time, traffic offenses.
Right.
Sexual orientation, even if you ever used cannabis, it's a lot.
It is a lot. And that's where you really see the tension, right? It's this clash between what an employer might want to know, maybe for legitimate reasons related to the job,
Maybe.
and an individual's basic right to keep their private life private. What these questions really highlight is how things like your personal beliefs, your health, your relationships often have absolutely nothing to do with how well you can do your job. And asking about them can feel like, well, a real invasion. It pushes us to define what's truly relevant information versus what's just intrusive.
So, moving from the workplace Big Brother idea, a scale up, way up, to institutional surveillance. We have those images of the National Security Agency, the NSA, its headquarters at SEAL.
Right. The NSA, a real-world, massive government intelligence agency. And that picture of the headquarters, it's huge, sprawling. It just screams scale, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The sheer size suggests enormous operational capacity, maybe even, reach.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's hard not to look at that and think back to Orwell again, isn't it? What's your take? How do those 1984 themes, the constant watching, the potential for monitoring everyone, how does that connect with a real agency like the NSA?
Well, you put your finger right on it. When you think about state-level surveillance, that phrase, Big Brother is watching, suddenly feels different, more profound, maybe. The scale of something like the NSA isn't just about collecting data, lots of data. It fundamentally changes the balance of power, you know? It means the state can gather information on a massive scale, and that raises huge questions. Questions about oversight, about accountability, about potential misuse, even if unintended. It makes us think about privacy not just between people or you and your boss, but between the individual and, well, these incredibly powerful organizations.
Okay, so we've gone from Orwell's fiction to job application questions to national security buildings. We've covered a lot of ground, bringing it all together. What's the main takeaway for you from all these different angles on surveillance and privacy?
I think the main thing is that these sources, together, they push us to keep questioning, to constantly reevaluate where we think the boundaries are. It's not about finding one simple answer, like this is private, that's public. It's more about sharpening our own thinking, you know, questioning the assumptions, and really considering all the different perspectives on what should be open and what should fundamentally be kept private, especially now with so much data flying around.
Yeah, this deep dive has certainly thrown up some complex, fascinating questions about who gets our information and why.
Definitely. We've seen how relevant Orwell still feels, looked at those really personal questions employers might ask, and touched on the sheer scale of government surveillance capabilities.
So ultimately, it leaves you, the listener, with this thought. In this super connected world, how much are we actually willing to share? And what parts of our lives do we really need to fight to keep private?
And maybe the final question to ponder is this. As technology keeps racing ahead, making information easier and easier to get, whose job is it, really, to draw the line? Who protects privacy? Is it up to each of us, the individual? Is it the employer's responsibility? Or is it the government's role to define and defend it? That's something to really think about.